$10K night because rich white America's Cinco de Mayo is celebrated with Chipotle. I even forgot it was Cinco de Mayo yesterday. But that's the funny thing. So we go to the most Americanized. I guess Taco Bell would be the worst.
Like how it was a few days ago that happened. That's funny. Cinco Mondeo.
Everybody's gotta have burritos for Cinco de Mayo. That's funny. I never would have guessed that.
That's it.
Makes sense, I guess.
All we had was pizza.
Yeah. Cinco de pizza.
Cinco de
Old farms would be caught dead in the Taco Bell. Probably not. You're probably right about that.
Good catch.
That is probably correct.
Oh.
We're going to taco time. That was still a thing.
Taco time?
Lighters.
Up. Stand up.
Taco Bell Light?
Stand up.
I don't know about that.
Stand. Stand up.
Good tater tots, too.
Tots?
Yeah. Ow. Ow. I don't know what happened to him.
Ow, what'd you do?
Got ate.
I have fucked up meat.
Got
Oh.
devoured by Taco Bell.
This was my worst one. This one popped for a while.
Oh.
There's like
This one, this
Del
one, this
Taco.
one, and this one. All in one day. They do the same fucking thing. They all pop.
Yeah, my right knee's a little
There's a place called
fokety right now.
Burritos in the same place as
Not really that bad, but
Move!
Carl's Jr. green burrito combos, and I've never once in my life ordered green burrito.
looks like a knee.
That's a full day.
I would recommend you not do it either.
Working on it.
Ooh.
Can you do this?
What, moving around?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a joint. I think it needs to a little bit.
Huh?
I mean, it's a joint. I think it's supposed to move a little.
Taco Cabanas,
Oh, mine feels like it's free floating.
Yeah, I can do the same thing a little bit.
Texas. Yeah. In Texas, the place to go is Las Palapas. That's the
But mine, on this side, you know where it bends in?
Mm-hmm.
serve the gravy
That's where mine
burrito
goes.
there. I don't think I would ever order it without having ordered it before.
Do you need my
I had
hotspot?
to see what it was.
Um,
Got it. It was
I'll worry about it later. Not right now.
a burrito with
I'll
gravy.
probably be asleep by the time you want it.
Well, yeah, well, by the time I'll worry about it tomorrow.
It was nasty. Figured it was.
I won't
That's
be
why
here.
I've never pulled through.
I won't be here.
Son?
Worst job
I'll be at
I've
work.
ever had. I've talked about that before.
Well, when I
Work at a
am
recycling
about to leave, usually you're here by then.
glass
I mean, you can
recycling
just,
plant.
just write it down for me or something. I can figure it out.
Basically garbage that would come from the Bay Area
Sarah?
and people would throw it into
Andrew,
recycling bins.
2022.
And my goal was to
S-A-R-A-A-N-D-R-E.
Okay, I'm highly, yes.
You're highly. You're not even fucking inebriated. Shut up.
Forklift.
Yeah, but I'm tired.
You're gonna get inebriated?
Nah, just weed.
Conveyor belt.
Just high as fuck.
Yeah. Suck off, you are shedding.
Dudes had to
Did you get
stick
my eyes?
along that conveyor belt.
Oh, fucking goddamn
Don't worry about it.
Metal and ceramic out of the glass. As long as any like big.
I gotta remind Daddy every 2 minutes to get me ice.
Like syringes.
Yeah.
You're like, this
You're
is
fine, bro.
glass.
Everything under the sun would come on. Diapers and
Good boy.
Crack pipes.
yeah, just the whole nine.
Do you leave the crack pipes?
Yeah, I mean they're glass.
That is hookers and crack pipes. That is hookers and crack pipes. That is in hookers and crack pipes.
That was definitely the worst job I ever worked.
Oh yeah.
They don't even really
Broken glass dabbers and crack pipes.
They've automated that job away at glass recycling places now. I've got like these little sensors that are over the thing. And it's lined with these little things that'll blow a puff of air. So the thing somehow is scanning whether or not it's glass, metal, or ceramic, and when it finds a piece of metal or ceramic, it kicks it out with a puff of air. So, as far as I know, nobody's even doing that job anymore. Good reason to. The job pay well, no. The job did not pay well. Let's put it this way. I was working with... I was in this sad state of affairs that this is indicative, but I was the only white person working there, and most of the people that I worked with were undocumented. So...
You were child laboring.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Off the books.
yep.
My brain feels like it's kind of slowly just like, stream. Yeah, I'm doing one of those, huh? Come on, brain. Activate. Activate brain. Little Zukov. Look at you, boy.
At that job.
Goofball.
17, and then into when I was 18.
Little sweet boy. Little sweet boy. Do the sweet boy Zukov. Ba-da-da.
I'm gonna have to either A, come up with a better way of sitting out here, or B, just stop doing these to my back heels. Because parents made you work at home for free, that sucks. I can't find a place where this shit isn't hurting. Sad thing is it's better than it was last week. But it's just slow to heal. Whatever it is.
Brain.
Tripod would help.
It feels slow to heal is my goddamn fucking brain. Not even 1 2.
Get another one of those.
Wake up 100% since Tuesday.
Side of this table, like,
I've just been in like a fucking like foggy haze.
Not pretty well.
Not bad, just like
I do?
drowsy, like bleh,
Fuck yeah, then.
bleh.
And I didn't even remember I had pre-rolls.
It's like that sickness just kind of threw me off for a loop.
I'm gonna roll on my own like a
Just ever so slightly.
like a stew.
A McCee's
I mean, this chair is
MC of the Seedles.
It's just the way that
What?
I usually sit all
What's that? What was the last thing you were attempting to say there?
right now. I have to be like
Of the Seedles 7. Like, okay.
damn, you naughty little pre-roll. Thank you.
Not a little pre-rolls are always fun.
One little pre-roll.
MC of the high season now. Well, evidently that didn't really pan out exactly what it was meant to. Not even your Lamau that time it panned out like it was supposed to. Like, you're not really having a good time with autocorrect, are you?
When you had to go to the doctor and get your recommendation, and they'd fill out your green card for you. So, I mean, yeah, I've had it If you actually have medical problems, you can get weed cheaper typically if you've got a green card. So I would say that it would be worth it for that.
I think maybe in some states that have medical only, you could possibly.
Well, it's kind of funny. Earlier today at work, me and my one of my coworkers, a few of us, were all just kind of chatting politics a little bit.
Yeah.
Just kind of about different little subjects. Nothing actually about like a very specific topic, really. But we kind of
It's probably harder.
got one of our more conservative-leaning type of coworkers a little bit he's starting to kind of get a little bit more open to just like left-ear perspectives lately. Because like near the end of the conversation, I remember my coworker's like, "Yeah, we're slowly turning him to a communist, yes." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'll go into plan." Because he's kind of I say like kind of conservative-leaning, but he's not even really like conservative. He's like, I don't know, like I guess like a true sense of what a centrist is, not like the internet like definition of what you're probably thinking. Like somebody who legitimately has like kind of like left views, but also, you know, right-leaning views as well. I'd say probably closer to like socially conservative and then like economically left. That's probably the best way to describe him. But either way, like, but even then, that's just not exactly like, you know, entirely him either. Like, I mean, there's definitely some stuff socially that he's left with, but at the same time, there's probably some economic stuff he's not, you know, left about, you know, so. You centrist, again, not the online version. Like a true sense of the word, like somebody who actually thinks, and, you know, and with that, might have like, you know, some right-leaning ideas, but also has left-leaning ideas. Like somebody who actually is like, you know, not, I guess, ideologically loyal to anything. Like, you know, he's not like, you know, he doesn't call himself capitalist, socialist, or Republican or Democrat. I mean, he doesn't call himself that. Or any of that type of shit. Or anything really close to that. He just kind of calls himself kind of like politically independent. You know, so, I mean, what else, you know, what else to call him, you know, I guess besides, you know, something like that. But, I mean, you know, at least, you know, lately I've been noticing he's been kind of taking a little bit more of an open, you know, approach towards, you know, some left ideas a bit, which I kind of find amusing. Because honestly, I feel like he's always kind of, you know, been, you know, believing of these type of ideas. It's just how you catch it to him. Because, like, I mean, I know he's definitely a little bit more pro-cop, that's for sure, but, I mean, usually whenever I talk to him about stuff when it comes to things like crime and shit like that, I usually try to catch it as, like, you know, not, like, just lawlessness or whatever the fuck, you know, like, you know, it's perceived, you know, like he does. But, you know, just kind of looking at the more root of what the actual fucking issues are about that type of shit. Zukov! Zukov, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Aye, laddie. People in Scotland say
So,
aye instead of yes.
and honestly, with him, like, if anything, like, I mean, he seems like somebody who I would probably trust as, like, someone who was actually, like a head of a department, like an actual, you know, like the chief of a department or someone that actually had, like, control of it, because he actually seems like a, you know, because he's actually a dude who, you know, would actually kind of give a shit, because, like, even when he was, like, I actually kind of found out why he, wasn't, in law enforcement anymore, is because, he, you know, because he personally, you know, wants, you know, he personally sees police, you know, as something that should, you know, ought to be like, you know, the community servants that they are. And, you know, and he had an ex-wife who was basically like the equivalent of Amber Heard. Like, I mean, because this is actually one of our topics that came up, and basically, you know, she, you know, was actually getting, like, so abusive with him to the point where it was just like, it was getting kind of bad, you know, for his own, you know, like, just for all publicity's sake, where he's just like, I kind of just basically have to step down because, like, I'm just making, not just myself, but making, like, everybody look bad. Where it pretty much kind of looks like the whole, like, bad apple spoiled bunch type of thing. But, you know, it's not even the fact he was a bad apple, it was just that he was trying, he didn't want to make it look like that, even though, honestly, they already were like that. You know, so it's like, if anything, he, you know, like, at least in my mind, he didn't want to, you know, become, you know, a spoiled apple like the rest. Which is honestly why, you know, at least, you know, for him, I would, you know, look at and be like, I can actually trust you, you know, to actually be an officer and give a fuck. Not really many people I could say that about, but, you know, at least because he's also had the experience for it and, you know, has told me about it before, and, you know, and actually, you know, find that out about why he quit and shit. It's like, damn. I mean, if anything, he kind of says, like, honestly, if it wasn't for my, like, horribly abusive fucking ex-wife and shit, I probably would have stuck around with it, you know, and it's just like, yeah, I could see it, you know, and, you know, knowing how he is and knowing who he is in general, like, I mean, I don't, you know, necessarily see him fucking being like any of these other pig motherfuckers. Because honestly, like, I mean, I even know local PD around here that aren't, like, you know, the equivalent of a fucking, like, Portland pig or some shit. Still kind of a pig, but, I mean, not, like, the same level. Like, there's tiers of pig. There's, like, kind of like, well, you're kind of part of the club, so, hi, pig. You know, there's, like, that, like, the low ones, where, you know, you can kind of tell that they're not really gonna fuck with you unless you really, really piss them off, or some shit. But then, you know, you start kind of going up the levels as they start getting more, like, piggier and piggier and piggier, and then it just gets more aggressive, more brutish, and, you know, as you go up the chain. But... Can I help you?
Keep in mind, she made this appointment.
Honestly, that's why I just, like, there needs to, you know, really have, like, you know, people, you know, kind of like who I was talking about a little bit, you know, in there and shit. Not just that, but, like, actually, you know, have, like, standards in place to where, you know, people like that are encouraged, not, you know, like, lower IQ, hyper-aggressive chuggle fucks that eat crayons because they failed to fucking pass even the USMC or some shit. So... yeah, it's just like, I mean, it really kind of, you know, yeah, I always just kind of look at the cop thing as just, like, such a really interesting, like, topic, you know, when it comes to, like, workers and shit, because, like, I know workers who are former, you know, like, who's a former cop, and I've known others in the past that have been before, and it's like, I can tell at least, you know, those people weren't, you know, aren't the same type of pigs that, you know, are, like, in the same type of fucking gang you are now. Obviously not the same. You know, and then there's also, like, you know, people that, you know, saw for what it was and got the fuck out, you know, and there are all sorts of other shit. And plus there's probably people in there that, for better or worse, are probably just blatantly naive to the idea and just are there for, like, yeah, I actually want to be the servant or whatever the fuck. It's just like, I mean... It's like, I feel like, you know, honestly, these are people to reach out to, because there's a lot of them, like, honestly, like, because there's a lot of people that, you know, might be former cops and shit, that ass, she might just work in, you know, a fucking grocery store or some shit.
She's going off to me, she's like, dude, she's like,
now, honestly, if anything, it kind of adds a very interesting perspective on, you know, the topics about when it comes to things like police and shit, because I know because of that, I know certain things like, you know, BLM and shit like that tend to be a little bit more, like, sensitive topics in a sense, because he tends to be a little bit more critical of them, because obviously of their hypercritiqueness of cops and shit. And, you know, and even for me, like, he even knows I'm more critical of cops, but, like, I at least, you know, try to be, you know, I've always talked to him about it as, like, you know, they actually just need to be what they're supposed to fucking be and shit. Like, I growing up as the idea they're supposed to be community protect serve type of people, right? You know, so they should be fucking that. Like, that's just how I come from it, and, you know, it's like, nobody should be discriminated, you know, extrajudiciously, you know, regardless of who the fuck they are. especially if they happen to be a minority, because what the fuck?
You can go to find, like,
I mean, there's just been too much historical context to show that that's just blatantly fucked. So let's not keep that going. Thanks.
I don't know if it's free in Mexico, but I know a lot of people from America who go to Mexico to get basic military shit. It's either free or incredibly cheap.
Shit of like finding someone in your network. It's like they're gonna be an awesome doctor, but they're like, oh no, we don't accept your insurance.
That's ridiculous. And there's just none of that. If you're a citizen of Canada and you are in pain or whatever, just walk in.
Or you have to fucking worry about like which hospital you go to if you have to go in an ambulance.
Yeah.
I gotta go to my
Funny little thing, actually, now I'm thinking about, the coworker I'm talking about used to be a former police officer. He actually still has his, issued, sidearm when he had it, on the force. It's a 45 auto, not auto, it's a 45, Glock, 21.
Just over both of our borders, north
Pretty sure it can carry, like, 18 rounds.
people are not.
It's actually like a fucking, like, at least a 45 cal Glock. That thing's fucking big. Like, I held it in my hand, it's like, man, like, even for my big hand, it's like, felt like a block. Hope I had soft recoil, because, Jesus. I haven't shot Glocks before, so I wouldn't know. But, definitely a hefty fucking thing.
Canceling student that somebody found a tweet from him in 2019 when he was running. One of the first things that I will do as president is to codify Roe v. Wade, protect it from these judicial assaults. It's a tweet, straight out from 2019. He sat on his hands along with everybody else and did shit.
Pretty sure Joe Biden is literally not gonna even push for fucking Roe v. Wade being codified and all that.
We've seen a lot of
And if anything, are like going to like presidential like White House dinners, correspondent things or whatever the fuck, and just having like little jokes amongst themselves about how much of a failure he is, basically. I mean, at this point, it's just basically like, you know, the lower strata is basically just left to kind of fend for themselves. I think that's just really like what it is that people just don't really get. It's like you're left on your own. And I don't think people can grasp it. They can't just firmly grasp it. It's like, hey, you're kind of on your own in this system. So, like, like the entire establishment that is does not give a fuck. You're a means to an end.
I tweeted it. Anna Kasparian did another one of those routine Young Turks meltdowns where they talk about how done they are with the DNC because they're just tragic failures and they're scumbags and they never do anything. So they're doing that again. They're trotting that out again. It's been a while since they trotted out the full, we're done with the DNC. It was after Trump got
I mean, it better be this time around. Jesus Christ.
Turks. But don't worry. By the time the next midterm came along, they were
done with the DNC in 2016 until they decided to just go ahead and vote for Hillary Clinton. But then this time around, well, I don't know. I hope it's not something like that, because that would really be annoying. And honestly, if it does, it's probably going to come from Jake. Hi, what's up? What's up, what's up?
Dude, speaking of the completely delusional, go look at Joe Biden tweeting. Whatever he's tweeted today, go look at it. And like the first 10, 20 responses will be people who are like, you are literally the best president ever. He's done nothing. He's done nothing.
You're the best president ever, even though you've done jack shit.
Bad about the Trump presidency.
Oh my god. You gotta love the Twitter bots. You know them Twitter bots are gonna be out in force.
There'll be people like, thank you, Mr. President. I sleep so much better knowing that you've got a real statesman in charge.
My own legal vape here in Texas. Hey, nice. That's some good shit. At least they got medical in Texas. I can at least give Texas that.
I mean,
I'll give them that.
You go down, you'll find them. But I'm just saying, like, the usually the top 3 or 4 or 5 of them are all just like people who are living in some kind of la-la land. The world has gotten so much better since Biden.
Yeah, honestly, like, I mean, even though, like, a good chunk of my friends are pretty much all like, fuck that, it's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm just biased, but I've been there a few times, like, I have family down there, so I can't exactly be, like, 100% like, fuck Texas. I mean, honestly, like, if anything, I just look at the politics of Texas and I'm kind of like, fuck that, but, like, I mean, just, in itself, it's like, I can't really, like, entirely say that. I mean, it's like, there's enough, you know, to chill with. You just have to, like, kind of, like, you know, go in there and just kind of search for the gigantic big ass of Texas that is Texas.
Corporate ass development.
Barely a yard.
Got a little front yard, a little backyard. It's right on the corner.
That's enough. Yeah.
Right across the, corner from the school, which that probably makes it worth it. Probably lets them put a little more on the asking price for kids to just walk to school. But it's just like
Sweet little big boy. Little Zuka. You pretty dog.
Trying to think, like,
Come here.
like, my mom was
Come here.
paying, like, $1,800 for like $100,000 house, so it's like
You see, boy.
yeah.
Oh my god.
3,600.
Oh my god, the big baby.
Unbelievable.
Oh. Oh. Oh, you little bubble. Look at you. You're just a big chungus. Big chungus, baby.
I know. I sleep so much better.
You're just gonna sleep so much better. Just being a little chunk that you is, huh? Oh my god. Look at all this. Shed monster.
It's just crazy. It's just like, that would be the type of house, or the, like, you know, then I might take a look at it, you know. Let's do a walk through the house and see what it is. I can't even get the door. I probably wouldn't even,
Vape has Delta A, THC, TCO, P, MB, CBD, and CBDN. Damn. Got a little bit of combo going on there.
Theoretically, you might be able to make this
It's just like, you know, I've never, like, I don't really need to have, like, the Delta 8, but honestly, it's just like, a part of me just wants to try Delta 8 THC just to see, like, what the effects of it are. I'm sure it probably wouldn't really do jack shit to me, to be honest. Not bad for a price. Nice. Boop.
there's definitely going to be support. As the economy tightens and shit, there's going to be foreclosure after foreclosure after foreclosure. Maybe that's part of the plan. A lot of these banks are the ones
I never get it, but it has an effect. Nice.
they want to seize the property.
I mean, I imagine, like, I know Delta 8 does a little bit. It just takes kind of time for it to kind of take effect. But if it's in, like, a vape form, then I'm sure it doesn't take as much in comparison to, like, a flower form or something.
You can't even get clear information on what's going on with that because you can find just as many articles of the housing bubble is about to blow. The average American can't even afford a house now. The housing bubble is about to explode. What does that mean? And you'll find another one saying, like, why this prices is not a bubble.
And I'm honestly
Right.
wondering how people can even, like, afford the rent, let alone, like, buy a home. I mean, it's just so goddamn ridiculous.
That is so hyperinflated and overvalued, I can't even tell you.
Shit's gonna, like, eventually pop at some point. And, man, like, when, especially people who recently bought houses, my brother being one of them, oh my god, they're not gonna have a good time with that. Not at all. I ever remember, like, trying to, you know, kind of warm a little bit. It's like, you probably don't want to, like, buy something, you know, like, especially very super expensive right now, like, that's not going to be good. And, of course, you get something that's $500,000, which it probably is not even remotely close to that. It's probably more like a quarter, if, you know, maybe maximum like a third of $1,000,000. You know, it's just like, that's not going to be good.
So it's probably got a big void.
Because if that shit pops, oh boy. And he's already been having problems and having to, like, fucking put, like, repairs and investments into it already because of shit. So it's like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Showing it's not exactly worth the actual price it was.
Prior to all this, but I gotta tell you, man, you might want to consider selling it double the money. Or in some cases, just straight tripping.
But where do you move? Where do you find the property?
And you get, on some of these houses, with the way that the value has shot up, you could do a couple of things. Like, depending on how you were going to do it, you could buy a used mobile home and pay pretty much nothing to live in a mobile
That would be
home.
pretty fucking dope. Get like a nice big ass like little mobile home RV thing.
Enough money to buy 2 houses.
Just kind of live in that for a little bit. Honestly, saving up money would probably be a lot easier at that point, because, rent a slot at like an RV place, which is probably going to be a lot more cheaper than fucking renting an entire goddamn house or apartment. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, I mean, definitely don't sound like a bad idea, but, I mean, there's also, like, trying to find a used one. That's kind of the issue. I mean, sure, you can find them, but, like, how many can you really find that are, like, nice and decently sized? You can find probably, like, medium and smaller sized ones.
Would be enough to buy a couple houses.
Maybe get a long bed van and reconfigure something like that, but then you'd be downsizing a lot. And you won't have a shitter.
Rent is just like completely removed from reality.
People that have rental properties like this, they see the valuation on their house, they adjust the rent accordingly. They suspect that if the average person could afford the mortgage payment on one of these houses right now, the average person would own a house. And they're just like paying their own mortgage.
Get some more weed grounded up. More weed grounded up.
They're equally screwed. I don't know, man. I'm getting rained on my rent. Everybody else is
I'm just kind of wondering if there will be actually, like, kind of a point, you know, where there's going to be, like, you know, massive kind of reform and an idea of, like, how we look at housing and shit, because, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, even for my current situation, like, I mean, this little home that I'm in was built up while my mom was fucking pregnant with me, making sure that it was all kind of completed, and even wasn't totally done until shortly after I was born. I was living in a house across the street for like a few months first, so it's just like, I mean, it's like this was like back in like the late 90s, and even then, like, something like that was getting to be harder and harder to attain, and you know, but like that was a lot more of a commonplace thing, even like, you know, during the 70s and the 80s and shit. And it's just like like now it's just been so like extracted away to the point where that's just not even like a possibility unless you've already just made it. Even though that really should just basically be, you know, like, you know, the idea of like what meritocracy is supposed to be about. You know, it's like, hey, if you want to have like a little more than just the basics, then, you know, you can work your way up to something like that if you want. Like, I mean, if, you know, like, you can even get something that's a little more modest or even a little bit more extravagant. Like, you know, it's like if you want to have like a big ass ranch or some shit. I mean, that'd just be nice for me. I love that. So have like maybe a house maybe just slightly bigger than this, and have like a decent amount of property and shit to have a, you know, little tiny ass like little farm on, or a large ass garden. A couple animals to chill, and then just like a bunch of just like wildlands around me, you know, just kind of exploring. Fuck yeah, that'd be ideal. And kind of the fucked up thing is that, like, you know, I would have possibly have had some of that from my mom's side with my granddad, but of course, you know, my fucking uncle, being kind of a scammy type of fuck, decided to sell off the property after it got inherited. It split between the kids, and he kind of trumped his way through, you know, to like kind of getting most of it. He Cheetoed his way in there, so that's always great.
No shame, no self-awareness. The age when people were worked to death in coal mines with no protective gear. The age where people literally fucking rioted in the streets to get an 8-hour workday because Jay Gould owned the shipping and the production.
Kind of like how Amazon owns so much of the
Rockefeller
delivery service and all sorts of it.
Competing plants. Now, yeah.
The Neo-Gilded Age.
That's the point. We've either reached or surpassed Gilded Age levels of different, like, disparity between the top and bottom in America.
That's why it's the lower classes versus the uppers. Because anyone within the upper class, no matter how much they want to pin it, you know, that they're on your side, they never will be. It's always been about class. It's like the astronaut memes. It's always been about class issues. Guy in the background, but instead of the pistol, it's like a little hammer sickle. It's just like it always has been.
Post-Civil War, huge labor economy, and just unprecedented levels of exploitation. Gotta love it.
There was AOC with her tax the rich ass.
Who knows?
She ain't there calling for it anymore. She's rich herself.
I hate how these, like, politicians will tweet, like, once every couple of months, a list of things that
And
we gotta
she's
do.
also Johnny come lately when it comes to the whole things about the unions and shit as well. Especially with Amazon. But honestly, it's just like, at least when it comes to that type of shit, it is useful. And it is, you know, merit to have, you know, somebody around when they're useful. But it's just like, understand where they fucking come from, and then, you know, coming from a side where they're not in your favor, they just kind of do that, you know, to just kind of buy your complacency. So it just needs to be reminded, you know, for them. It's just like, no, we're not going to be complacent just because you happen to, like, you know, virtue for us and hope that, like, okay, cool, we did it. Because it's going to be a lot more than that. And I'm sure a lot of them will be very surely disappointed about that.
Dirt on Mansion and Cinema.
Sounded like
disturbed.
Sounded like a pack of wild dogs was loose, and then there was like howling and like
What the
8
fuck?
dogs going at it in the street.
Not you, Pete. You're not a chorus joiner.
Took off, what you doing?
But yeah, they're smearing that Madison Cawthorn guy pretty good because it revealed the coke orgy.
Honestly, I'm kind of respecting Madison Cawthorn a little bit.
Mansion and Cinema.
Not too much,
Oh,
just a little bit.
There's compromising actions to be dealt with. Like, they need just LBJ. And LBJ needed, like, multiple votes. You know what I mean? He was in a place where he needed like 5, 6, 7, 8 people to come along with him for the Voting Rights Act. We need,
From both sides,
right,
too.
from both sides. Yeah. We need 2 from our side. But nobody can do it. See, this is weak leadership.
You know, we were gonna try to, like, you know, get this thing done, but we just have, like, 2 people on our side that just decided to be like, nah. So we're just gonna do it. It's just so fucking stupid. It shouldn't be that hard to fucking be like, hey, either do this type of shit or we'll fucking, you know, force your hand. And I don't think you're gonna like it when the hand is forced.
All do is brace these people. They'll come along.
Brace them.
Then we can get some shit done. But here's the rub. He doesn't want to get shit done. He's part of the apparatus that prevents shit from getting done.
That's pretty much the whole reason why Biden was there in the first place. Is basically to make sure that nothing gets done.
This is why it's not harm reduction to vote for Joe Biden.
Especially considering he's kind of a dementia-addled, doddering fool that won't even fight for fucking Roe v. Wade and shit. It's just like, yeah, at this point, like, he was there purposely to just make sure nothing gets done. That's why nothing would fundamentally change.
Filthy rich and probably filthy with corruption. And all Joe's got to do is put a little folder with that in it. What are we going to do about this here, Joe? Because it's looking to me like there needs to be a federal level investigation into all of your campaign finance, because this is unbelievable. Now, I could go ahead.
I don't think that's something we would get.
But I'm going to need you to come along.
I potentially could see that maybe with like a Bernie presidency, but not with a fucking Biden one whatsoever.
Sorry.
But even then, I don't even know necessarily Bernie would do that.
Joe, I don't even think Joe's capable of that. I don't even think Joe is that type of politician. Joe's the ultimate greasy glad-hander politician. He's not this scrappy guy like he likes to portray himself. He's a glad-hander.
The idea of fucking Biden being like, you know, some sort of a, you know, like, strawman viper guy, it's just like, nah.
No, Manchin is not more powerful than the president. Manchin is just exerting power that the president refuses to check, refuses to even try and check. I guarantee you, a little dossier.
Yeah, I find the memes about, oh, President Joe Manchin kind of a little bit, like, too complimentary to Joe Manchin because, like, yeah, he wishes he was. But no,
he's gonna find enough dirt.
He's not powerful like like the president is. It's just president just refuses to check him. President refuses to use his own power against him.
Make a little deal with him. Elevate them. Say, I'll put you on the Ways and Means Committee. I'll put you on the Defense Committee. Let you, you know,
sweet boy.
The party ranks a little bit, but you're going to vote with us. You're going to vote with the party. You're not going to go up and be against the party. And that's that. Number of types of pressure that could be applied. It's not being done.
Baby.
Oh, cricket.
Come here.
I think they're wrong with those dogs, man. Stop and start.
I don't know.
Hey, buddy.
I don't know if that was just like a dog walking incident or what, but it's crazy.
You can just paw me and that's it. Baby. Is that like making you like curious what that is? He's all just like, what's all the noise? Whoa.
Me too. Saying all the right things finally, but
Hey, don't get all
right
intense.
back at it.
Mm-mm. No. 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 Hey. Hey. Shut up. What the fuck? Hey. What the fuck, bro? Zukov. Bro. Shut up.
Blue in 22, yep.
Hey.
Blue once more in 24.
What the fuck? What? No. Shut the hell up. Fuck, bruh. Goddamn. Hey. Oh my fucking god. Zukov. Zukov. You son of a bitch.
Slow your roll.
My god.
Chill out.
You done?
I'm on guard duty right now. You can take a break.
Are you done? Your little, like, growly guard dog services are no longer needed, bro. Like, come on, bro. Look at you. You ridiculous thing. Bye-bye. The fuck? Fuck, bruh. No.
Just zoned out into my own head for
No.
I couldn't tell if it was that or if the chat was just dead.
Like,
No.
come on.
I'm
Zukov.
I'm looking at the chat.
Are you gonna chill?
Oh.
You chilling? Or are you still gonna boof? Why do I have a feeling the guy in our booth building up?
Ground control to me.
Better not boof again. Oh my god. Quit boofing.
We broke Paul for a second. Maybe you did.
Jesus.
Maybe you're to blame.
Do you really just have like one more?
Oh, alright. Well, see you guys later. Bye.
Zukov! Dude! Bro! Oh my god. Hey! Bro! The fuck? Shut up! Bro! No! Do you mind? Oh my god. Are you good? Are you good? Fucking dog. Are you done boofing? Are you done being a ridiculous boof machine? Are ya? Come here. Come on. Come here. You little fucker. Come on. What are you doing? Goof? Are you done boofing? Are you done boofing or you little goof? Green hair dog. Hit my dog. I'm not. I'm literally looking at him, just being like, "What are you doing? Quit your boofing. Quit your boofing." Now he's just chilling. Like, what? The only thing I'm hitting him with is a bunch of loves and cuddles and scritches. That's all he's getting hit with. And the spoils of food. Like peas, carrots, turkey, chickens, hams, all sorts of stuff. So, if anything, he's getting hit with some good shit. Doggo taken away? Oh my lord. Yeah, as I literally don't do anything wrong with him. It's okay. Come here, bub. Puppy. Oh. Oh, you sweet baby. Oh. Oh, you stretch. You big stretch. Oh. Oh. Get up here. You lazy bastard. You lazy. Oh. 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 Little fluff. You big tree fluff. You big tree little fluff boy, you. Oh my gosh, look how hurt you are. Oh my goodness. Such immense pain. Oh. You're just so used to it now, are you? You're bored of this abuse. You grow bored and weary of it. Yeah, it's called a car. That's what's out there. You big goof. You big goof monster. But do you mind? What are you doing? What is this? Oh my goodness. You're ridiculous. You're just ridiculous. Get that ear all flipped out to oblivion. You goof. You're ridiculous. You're so silly. You're just so silly. You just deserve all the loves, scritches, and the pats. Are you just like chilling now? You just straight up gonna vibe here now? Because you're not gonna be vibing here forever. No. Yep, you're trying to force yourself here. God damn it. No. Bruh. You goof. You big goof ball. Look at you. Look at you. You're upset. Boop. Yeah, can I help you? Oh yeah. Such proof that I am hurting and abusing that dog so badly. Wow. Like, my lord. Like, if we're gonna be trolling that, I mean, we gotta at least do a little better than that. I mean, you gotta at least do something that would probably at least have some sense of, you know, like, unplausible deniability type of thing, where it's like, well, you can't really prove nor deny it. Because that one is, that almost actually pretty easy. It's just like, okay, I could just literally show you what I just normally do with them, which is just give him love, scritches, pats, and cuddles. Because he's a little sweet boy. So it's just like, there is at least be something. And I know there is. You could be like, oh, you're just trying to sweeten, tenderize the meat before you slaughter him, stuff him in a crock pot. I mean, you could have done something, but... but, alas, weak. What's this?
So,
Tommy Lauren rails against student debt forgiveness. Called it a cheap trick. What the fuck, really? Oh my god. Like, do all these, like, stupid Republican talking heads just have, like, basically nothing besides just like, oh, costs too much. Oh, it's a trick. Oh, it's just a handout. Oh, it's this, it's that. Oh, it's, like, something for, like, rich fucking lib academics, will get, even though it actually affects people that don't really have money, not rich people. So it's just like, so many, like, all these, like, all their fucking talking points are just so stupid. They don't, like, actually mean anything. I mean, none of them, like, none of the talking points are mostly, like, the shit that they try to fucking claim that they support or advocate or against or whatever the fuck. Like, none of it makes real cohesive sense anyway, but, like, man, I mean, when it comes to, like, the whole student debt forgiveness thing, it's, like, the only one that, like, probably works, like, oh, might be unfair for those that might, acquire debt, in the future, that don't get this. And it's like, well, don't have a system where there is student debt. Don't have an education system in place so, no one has to go into student loan debt. How about that? So then we don't have to worry about that, right? It's like, I mean, even then, it's like, it's an easily rebutable thing. I mean, at least at that point, I could probably get if, like, some naive person on the street or something thought that, but, it's like, well, that's why, we should make it so no one has to go into, doing, like, student loans, to go to have a higher education. Just make it, like, either significantly more affordable or just have, like, free public access to it. One or the other. And there's ways you can do that in both spectrums, so it's pretty easy.
So, went on...
Oh, here, let me pull the screen up.
Fox Business Network, talking to Stuart Barney here. Clash
Oh,
of
God.
Pompous people. That's what this is. He's going to
Pompous
ask
versus
about student loan debt elimination.
Blonde Pompous.
Softball down the center of the plate.
Oh, God.
For Tommy Lauren, and let's see how she reacts.
I want to know how a youngster like yourself feels about forgiving student loans, because President Biden says he is considering student loans.
Yeah, they should be, 100% forgiven, and also we should make it so our education system that makes it so we don't have to go into student loans anymore. How about that?
By the way, he's not. What he's considering is
partial forgiveness.
$10,000 of student loan reduction, and it's means tested. Of course, Biden would take an idea that is wonderful, eliminating all student loan debt, and water it down massively to the point where it's only 10 grand, and it's only for middle income and lower income people, and make it a half measure, make it more of a welfare program than a universal thing. Of course, of course.
Are you in favor of student loan debt forgiveness?
What a cheap trick to try to garner favor with blissfully ignorant young people is exactly what this is.
A cheap trick to eliminate student loan debt. A cheap trick. A cheap trick.
Huh?
I don't know how to explain to these people that obviously good things are obviously good. We have free high school. We have free middle school.
And elementary and pre-K. I mean, oh my god, dude. What the fuck? It's like what? So is there like a cheap trick into fucking getting people to have like, universal pre-K through 12? But it just isn't, all of a sudden outside of that? I mean, I already know what this bitch will probably say. She'll probably be like, yes. Because she'll probably think that, like, privatized schooling and homeschooling, is the way to go with shit, as most of these fucking people are, because they want to basically destroy and butcher public education as much as possible. So, that's really what it just comes down to what their fucking ideas are about. It's basically just, like, how do we, like, fundamentally undermine, the education system, or at least the public education system as much as possible, while making sure that our for-profit privatized education systems and people who want to do homeschooling ventures get the most amount of power in the education system. And well, one way is to just like undermine student loan debt forgiveness in every step of the fucking way when someone advocates for it, even if it's watered down to shit.
School. Just understand that in today's day and age, a college degree is the same as a high school degree used to be. And then it should logically follow that, oh, well then that should be free. Now if you're like, hey, college isn't for everybody, that might not make sense, then I respond to you with, you could also choose if you'd like to go to trade school for free. So we should have a college option or trade school option for free.
Fuck, put like, culinary arts and like other art schools and, and other, type of, schoolings in there as well. Just like put it like any and all forms of schooling available. Like, when it comes to public education, it should be just education, of, whether it be trade schools, different, like art schools or like different types of, just science, space type of research schools and shit like that. Whatever the fuck it is.
$1 in the Middle East spent. $7 trillion on a bunch of illegal wars and nation building. It would cost they say 1.6 on the graphic that's going to show, but I think it's 1.7 trillion. It should definitely be done. Oh my god, it would be a wonderful thing. And she calls it a cheap trick.
Fuck off.
No, a cheap trick is when we bail out Wall Street with no strings attached when they bankrupted their own companies.
Or also a cheap trick where we just give billions of dollars to, fucking Ukraine while a bunch of us, continue to starve and the economic conditions here continue to suffer and shit. It's just like, because apparently now, like, that is just like the biggest, like fucking concern that, like our fucking, government, has been having, apparently now. Like, that's been the only thing, apparently our government has been doing something worth a fuck, apparently. Because they won't do nothing about Roe v. Wade, they won't do nothing about all this other shit. They won't do nothing to relieve the struggles, for the average people. But now we gotta make sure that we continue to fund a war. I love fucking proxy wars.
Trick. And then they paid bonuses to the same people who made the poor decisions, which led to the economic crash and led to the companies going bankrupt.
It's okay.
That's a cheap trick. That's all because of corruption. This is not a cheap trick. This is bailing out people who need to be bailed out because the system is rigged against them. Crystal Ball did a great thing recently. She did a great monologue explaining how the way the current system works with the loans for college, it's just a giant neoliberal scam. You were told, look, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you got to improve your own life, you got to go to college, we'll give you the loans to go to college. And then when people do that, they do exactly that, then everybody turns around later on and says, well, you were irresponsible for taking out the loan to go to college. What? You said that's the American dream. Take out the loan, go to college, improve yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I did that, and then now I'm more in debt, and I'm in a worse position. It was just a scam. The whole thing was a fucking scam.
And also, while all that's going on, you have to make sure that you try to get, like a family settled down. And you have, like, the whole, like, nuclear family aesthetic going on as well. Like, basically put yourself further into debt with, like, a mortgage and all this other shit. So, it's like, basically it's all fucking scam to make sure you're essentially like indebted, you know, to the system one way or another in like multiple different fucking octopus tentacles, you know, wrapped around you.
That scam. Very
It's
clear.
fundamentally what's just been kind of about.
Completely
Keep you under.
against this, because this is only going to cause more problems for the entitlement generation. Listen, you would
Entitlement generation. Entitlement generation. Okay, how...
You know what? Honestly, it's like, yeah, we are entitled to our fucking shit. You know, so much has been taken away, you know, that has been entitled to us prior, but, you know, it just isn't anymore. It's like, yeah, we're entitled to that and fucking more, especially now more than ever these days. It's like, honestly, that just needs to be taken, you know, as a sense of endearment. You know, it's like one of these words that, you know, the fucking right, you know, used as like, you know, some derogatory, you know, be just reversed as, you know, some sort of, you know, sense of endearment. Because there's nothing inherently wrong with entitlement. Since when these motherfuckers, you know, making the idea that, you know, there's something inherently wrong with entitlement?
College for the boomers. It was super inexpensive. The price has skyrocketed for millennials. A lot of millennials and Gen Zers, of course, but live with their parents because they can't really afford to move out and the jobs aren't paying that well. And she calls the generation of which she is a part the entitlement generation. Oh. As if it wasn't the previous generations that fucked everything up.
Well, she's a part of the fucking privileged generation, if anything.
It was like, now you guys deal with the fallout of it.
I'm going to be part of, like, the multi-generational generation of just privileged fucks. I'm telling you,
You
Larry.
paid for an overpriced education, or you signed up to pay for an overpriced education, and now you want the taxpayer to pay for it for you. So not only is that bad for the entitlement generation, who thinks everything is free, by the way, it's not.
Like, nothing is free these days. Nothing.
I honestly hate it's another one of those fucking makes no sense weird little claims they make. It's like literally no one says, you know, things are just like free, so to speak. Like it's free to the point of service, or it's, you know, / like public, you know, access and shit. And that basically, you know, means like you don't have to pay of it out of pocket, and it's free in that way. But there's things called taxes. You know, so that's how those things get paid for and shit. It's not free, as in it's like, yep, yeah, we just kind of just did it. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, just no money involved. It's just like, no, that just it's literally no one thinks that.
Now, there are about 6 European countries where college is free. The overwhelming majority of Americans want college to be free. There are places where the basics are met, but it's not here. It's not here at all. It should be here. It's not here. It's not here. They think everything's
As
free.
we should be entitled to it.
People my age and younger haven't experienced anything that's free. Like, literally nothing.
What
Now,
the
maybe
fuck?
if certain things were taken off the table in what's supposed to be a civilized, developed society, people would have a better crack at life, man. It's just really, like, free college and eliminating student loan debt is all about actually giving people equal opportunity. That's what it's about. It's about actually giving people a shot to make it. If you don't have a roof over your head, you don't have food in your stomach, you don't have an education, are you really free?
No.
Like, you're free to struggle. You're free to starve. You're free
You're free to live in like utter destitution. Yeah.
to
Be a
tread
serf.
water in the same place. You're not actually free. You can't tell me that, you know, a kid born to a single mom in Harlem has the same chance as Mitt Romney's son. Of course they don't. They have totally different chances. We're trying to give equal opportunity. And they smear that. And they portray that as if we are in favor of equality of outcome. No, we just don't want to have a 100-yard dash where one person starts at the 85-yard line and another person starts at the negative 20-yard line. Because that's not fair. So they're basically...
Exactly. I mean, this is the stupid thing about, like, a lot of these fucking, you know, rich entitled fucks that, you know, also will sit on these, you know, rich, you know, business class fucking TV shows and shit, and yet will look down on the fucking, you know, poors and shit. It's just like, I mean, they already have their fucking needs met. This is why they don't give a shit. Like, they know that a lot of the people that, you know, are going to listen to this and probably agree are also, you know, under the same type of strata that they're fucking, you know, condescending as well. Because, you know, to them, you know, to people like Tommy, like, they already made it. They don't give a shit. And they never will. Like, it never is an actual issue that they need to worry about, because, they could just, make sure that, their schooling is already paid for. Because they're rich. They already have the fucking wealth and money to do so. I mean, so it's just like, the idea that they're ever gonna, like, give a fuck about any of these type of issues is just, like, utterly ridiculous. Like, they just only are doing it to maximize their own fucking coffers and to keep people divided on as, issue where it's just, like, their basic, need and access to education, is just, should be a guaranteed right, because it is in a lot of different fucking European countries already as it is. And a few other places, too. And it's because curious, like having a more educated populace tends to have a more freer and critically thinking state. So it's just like, it's as if that should be a guarantee.
To try to ameliorate that, give people free healthcare, give people a free education, give people a universal basic income. Now look, after you provide the basics, I'm totally fine saying, look, it's on you now. And let's have sort of a meritocracy type situation where there's competition.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. But you have to meet the basics. If you don't meet the basics...
I mean, hell, I was honestly, like, kind of telling that to my coworkers a little bit, because actually kind of automation kind of got brought up a little bit. And now it's kind of mentioned, like, it's like this kind of thing, it's kind of saying, it's like, it's kind of a double-edged thing about automation. It's like, obviously, it's going to be more used, against us, for just more hyper corporatization and shit. But like, really, in like the longer run, it's like, if there really is like no real like human work, and it is dressed that we have to have like something in place, like some universal basic type of income system to where we just have the time for ourselves, and that income can be used, for whatever that is. And if you want a little extra, then, there could still be, jobs available and that type of shit. But, it's, under for extra merit type of thing. Hence the whole meritocracy. But everyone's basic needs are met. So it's just like, I mean, it's like, that's why, honestly, in a lot of ways, for me, it's like the acceleration of automation probably is maybe for the better. Just because that, in a sense, maybe this will help kind of hasten the idea of this type of shit, kind of getting quicker, where we actually, have, type of system of this type of notion in place, especially if kind of a rising labor movement, growing in this country. The two going hand in hand, for the betterment, of themselves is, better than, trying to go against it. Because at that point, we'd just be prolonging the inevitable against ourselves. So it's just like, I mean, when we have more time for ourselves, when we have like, a basic UBI type of system in place to where we don't have to like work all the fucking time and shit, it's just going to be more productive and more valuable for our own selves, and for not just for our own mental health, but even towards society too. Because you can use that time to think about other different things you want to be productive with and shit. That isn't necessarily like, tied to like some sort of a work grind or whatever the fuck.
What are we talking about here? You're just finger wagging at people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps when they don't even have boots. And that's what Tommy Lauren's whole shtick is.
Let alone straps.
But it's also bad for inflation. And let's talk about the price of college. Yes, college does cost too much. I agree with you. But
By the way, it's...
Oh, so if you do agree with that, then why don't you actually, I don't know, maybe advocate for student loan forgiveness and more affordable and public access education?
Inflation. The reason why inflation...
But it's as if you don't care. And, hey, shut up! Jeez.
And is bad, is mainly because of the supply chain and monopolies.
Loud ass boy.
Industries where there are monopolies, they can artificially keep the prices high, and the supply chain makes it so that supply is down and demand is up. So the answer to that would be, let's break up the monopolies and let's stop outsourcing our jobs and rebuild American manufacturing here. She makes it seem like, if we eliminate student loan debt or do free college, inflation, that would lead to inflation. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She has no idea.
That they don't even have anything to do with each other.
What she's talking about in terms of economics.
government getting involved in forgiving things, that helps in no way, shape, or form. It gives these universities these...
Eliminating student loan debt, quote, helps in no way, shape, or form.
It literally helps in every way, shape, or form.
It's certainly...
Basically just take the opposite of what she says, and that's, probably, what the actual, like, claim, or idea you should be the advocate of. It's like, oh, yes, if she says, oh, student loan debt, in America will never help, like, any way, shape, or form, just take the opposite of that and be like, oh, okay, that's what it is. So, we'll help.
Who have the student loan debt, they'd wake up tomorrow and be like, oh my god, my student loan debt is no longer here. That is wonderful. I've now freed up some capital. I can maybe go lease a car. I can maybe go move to a new apartment. I can go out to eat, whatever. It helps in no way, shape, or form.
Colleges no incentive to have competitive pricing in their tuition. It allows them to jack up as high as they want. The indoctrination camps are raking in the money, courtesy...
Oh, what? Like how Republicans are doing that by literally banning shit like math books and other different, like, literature books and shit just because it's, like, quote, CRT or LGBT or whatever the fuck. Yeah, okay, sure.
And at the detriment of young people who think there is a such thing as a free lunch.
Okay, sure.
Indoctrination camps, she calls schools.
My god. They just really want to, like, destroy anything that is related towards, like, a brain. They want to destroy anything that has to do with brain. It's like, hey, does that have to do with, like, an actual functional brain? Let's destroy it. Hey, education. Oh, that has something to do with brains. How about we destroy that? That's all indoctrination. It's like, oh my fucking god. What are you doing? What are you doing, Wolf? You big fluffy chest mane. Oh my goodness, you big fluff. What are you doing? Are you knocking off? Knocking off, bro. Jeez. I'm being weird. Being weird, Doge. Look at you. Oh my god. What the? Oh my fucking god. Oh, you flopping bastard. Oh my god, you flopping bastard, you. Oh my goodness. Oh. Belly rubs and belly pats. What more do you want? Oh my god. Ugh. You good? My goodness, dude. Absurd. Absurd. What a little goofball. Really? Really? Boop. Boop. Flip the mirrors. What are you gonna do about it? It looks so fucking cute. Those little ears all flipped. Oh my god. It's just so adorable. Oh goodness. Yeah, Louisiana bill charges women who get abortions of murder. Oh my god. Man, we need to wall off fucking Louisiana now. We need to start walling some states and start districtifying them. Maybe that's the key. Maybe we just need to start districtifying states and have like a state rights penalty or something. It's like, alright, you get to become a district for like 10 years or some shit. for unconstitutional laws or some or something or another. Because honestly, Jesus Christ, it's just getting beyond fucking absurd. Like, cause that's just like insane. Even like even for all this type of shit going on, it's just like, I mean, not even the whole like, oh, the abortion ban's 6 weeks, you know, whatever the fuck, like in Texas is. It's like, that's not even like on insane levels like that. Ugh, Jesus Christ. And the fucking Republican Party at this point is just so goddamn just vitriolically disgusting. Like, ugh. Ugh. But anyway. See if it's like, you know, a little thing. But doesn't really look like it, so. Whew. Actually, get a little bit of food in me. Get a little early night sleep, if anything, actually, for the night. Because I'm actually pretty worn out, so. Whew, shubba-dabba. At least it was a pretty easy date. Pretty nice and chill. Just the way I like it. But anyway, peace out, and of course, I'll be back around for that next one.